Welcome to Club Surface Level, a place to be black, to be queer, to be you. I'm one of your hosts, Jordan, and tonight, Tony, Damon, and I are discussing the parties, the move, the scene. What are our most memorable gay club experiences? What anxieties do we have around the gay club? This is Butch Queen on the Scene. Butch Queen on the Scene. All right, you guys. So tonight is a special episode because, y'all know that we like to party. Yeah. We live for a good party.
Surface level after dark.
Exactly. I wish you guys...
church.
You go to church?
Yes.
What kind of church?
Right.
Exactly.
There's a meeting in his bedroom.
Tonight, we're having a conversation with the creator of Trappy Hour, one of our favorite Harlem parties since we moved here almost 10 years ago. Leon Curry is going to speak to us a little bit later, but for now, let's do what we always do, which is play a little game to get started. Cool?
Yes, I'm ready. Let's do it.
Okay. First question. What's a song that when it plays in the club, it makes you scream and run to the dance floor, past or present?
Oh my God. Birthday Cake by Rihanna.
Bitch.
It was our 22-year-old in New York. What club were we at? In-house kitchen.
Ooh. Industry
therapy.
Probably.
It was industry because we were in the bathroom line, right?
We were in the bathroom line and we ran out of the bathroom line back onto the dance floor because Birthday Cake came on and it's only 45 seconds long.
You had to be there for the whole 45 seconds.
Tony.
So one might think it would be a Beyonce song, and it probably is, but the song that came immediately to mind is "Nuck If You Buck" because
You're a hood rat.
I don't normally. I'm not out there. I don't even know the words. I just know that it's
You
fun
come in
to
the
just.
club.
And we knucking and bucking and ready to fight.
That's all I know. Yeah, that part.
Come in the club shaking your
fun.
dress.
It's fun. Also, what's the no, never mind. I'm not gonna say that one. I'll keep it there. Yeah, Nuck If You Buck. Leave a little suspense to the mind.
I'll believe that. I was gonna say Birthday Cake as well.
See? My sister.
So, circuit party in Barcelona or circuit party in Rio de Janeiro?
Barcelona.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna say Barcelona, but that doesn't mean that Rio didn't actually go off.
Rio was the best light show I feel like I've ever seen in my life.
Expensive lights.
Very, very rich lights.
It was such a wild sight to see.
Yes.
It was 5 floors.
There was an outdoor section.
A mega stadium.
Everyone had a body. It was crazy. I was everybody's so built. It was all the people from the beach. They all rolled into the circuit party.
Right.
Because the beach was packed as well.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
I was like, wow, this is a movement.
Barcelona was a little more underground. I like that.
Yeah, it was one space. I could see you from any part of the room. What Wi-Fi? You trying to connect to the Wi-Fi, Tony?
I'm on the Wi-Fi, baby.
Okay, so
She
it
is
doesn't
the
sound like
Wi-Fi.
I don't
that.
need to connect. But I don't even know what this is not Siri, but they got Siri, Alexa.
Oh, that's Alexa.
Yeah, Alexa is not, she's not happy with me.
Baby.
Oh, what is happening? How do I turn that off?
I don't know. Just turn the volume all the way down.
Now I don't know how to work this thing.
I don't know, child. It's something with 2 buttons
That has
that do
literally
volume.
never happened. I think I got it. All right.
Keep that in.
Next case.
How are we able to tell if you had too much to drink at the club? What are your signs?
It depends, because there's too much to drink where I'm just flirting with everybody.
Tony slapping butts.
And I start slapping butts. That's one of my things I do. So beware.
Please give consent.
But then, other than that, I think I'm like, it's an Irish exit. I kind of know when I've drank too much, I gotta go. Mm-hmm. And no one else can really tell besides me.
Yeah, I just
Maybe
run home immediately.
Right.
Things go awry. I'm too old to be getting tore up. I do go to sleep sometimes. Not anymore, but I have been to sleep at people's homes.
That was a telltale sign.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But now I feel the sleep is coming over me. I must leave.
Okay.
The sleep comes over you immediately once it's too much liquor. I think for me is if you see me with a beer, it's because I've had too much to drink and I need something in my hands because I don't know what to do with my hands. But I know that I don't like beer, so I'll drink it forever. What's your go-to club outfit?
Oh my goodness. Something tight and right.
Something black and sheer.
Yeah, I think I like a form-fitting.
Girl, that's your
Something or
that's your
another.
church outfit.
That is my church outfit. What's that? I don't know why I thought No Church in the Wild. Is that a thing? Or
Yeah,
that's
that's
I think it's a song.
No Church in the Wild.
You always in the wild.
Y'all both at church. Neither one of y'all saved. I'm wearing like a.
We know some gods.
No, I know some guys. I'm like a black jean hat type of person. Okay. What's your favorite aspect of the gay club? And I want to end with that question.
Open-ended. Ooh.
You want to go first, Damon? Do you have a favorite aspect?
Boys.
Boys.
I mean, what if I'm going to club? Like, what else is topping the boy? Ooh, that's funny.
What else is top besides you?
Hello.
Yeah, I love a party that gives you a dance moment. Like that's why I think
that's fun.
these days I prefer to go to a circuit party potentially because that's where like they're playing music and everyone's like dancing and
Yeah,
you know
everybody's moving.
fellowshipping, if you will.
Okay, I see the corner eye.
Yeah, I mean that's what I call fellowship.
I would probably say the music. Like, I just know that I'm going to get the artists and the songs that I want. Like, I feel like if a new song comes out, my immediate first thought is, I need to go to the gay club to hear it. So, like, I feel like that's for me. Like, if I go to, like, straight clubs, I'm just like, what is this?
Yeah.
They listen to Cameron.
Not Cameron.
Ooh.
All right. So continuing on the topic of our favorite kind of gay experiences, like what's been one of your most memorable club experiences since we've been in New York? Maybe Jordan, we start with you.
Most memorable was... Most memorable is probably one of my very early gay club experiences because I was a late bloomer to the club. But I don't know if you guys remember on Wednesdays at Splash,
Yes.
it was Latino night, which
Ooh.
if you don't know what that is, that's blacks and Latinos.
AKA Jordan's favorite night of the week.
Every night's Latino night at Jordan's house.
You know what?
You are carrying.
And honestly, like me and Tony, we made our first like meaningful connection at Splash Wednesday.
Such a meaningful
I
connection.
think Tony tells the story differently.
Yeah, no,
Maybe.
We've told that story.
We've told the story. But yeah, I think that was like the first experience where like it was a big venue, it was a ton of people, and it was crazy because it was Wednesday. Like if you guys saw me on Thursday mornings at work, like I was looking crazy, 2 hours of sleep, smelling like Kettle One. It was a mess, but it was like necessary at like week after week. I couldn't get over it.
Right. I also feel like that was. I don't feel like I know. That's when we were younger, so we could snap back the next
do
day
that.
and be
Right.
right in the office.
That was given like the first year of us being in New York.
I'm
Like we were still
calling
playing college.
out.
Yeah.
We were still used to like partying at Howard and going to class at 8 o'clock in the morning.
Very-
So it was like
very
muscle
much so.
memory.
Very
Not
much so.
today.
Mm-mm. Tony.
Well, I think for me, so I'm gonna take your question and do what I do with it. But
Here we go.
for starters, I think that I want to talk about the first time I actually like been to the gay club, which was my freshman year at Howard. I stayed on the second floor of Drew Hall, which was notoriously known to be the gay floor at that time.
In the triple.
And that infamous triple. I didn't stay in the triple, but I was in the triple.
Everybody was in the triple.
Everybody was. But no, so that was a time where the gays who knew that they were gay and the gays who were exploring, we went out and we trekked by foot down the hill to a legendary spot called Town, for those of you who remember. And it was a mixed crowd of white and black, but it was techno house music. So everything, it was everything that I actually remember seeing on TV, like shows like Queer as Folk,
That's queer as folk.
that I would sneak and watch. And it was like, okay, girl, I've arrived. And when I walk in, I own the room.
Come on.
So it gave very much Nene Leakes a little bit.
Fresh meat.
She owns everything.
Right. But so now my first time at the Black Gay Club, that was a different experience. And that was also in DC, a very well-known spot. And those of you who remember will recall the Delta. I can't wait to hear
That
people
was
who-
my first gay club experience with the
Yes.
low ceilings.
Yes. So it gave very much of like house party in a club venue, sort of, right? But very strong drinks, very large cups, and when you went down to the downstairs room, that's where you could touch the ceiling, literally, and the walls were sweating. And it was like, to be a young gay during that time, iconic.
in the
During that
downstairs
era.
room.
Oh, I hated it.
But one last thing though, because I remember
Jordan wanted champagne.
I remember my gay mother, shout out to Anthony, showing me the way and getting me together ever since. So I've been storming the scene since then. And I mean, we went everywhere. And I think the height of those days, we went to a club called the I Bar, which was iconic as well and legendary. And then we took infamous trips to Sizzle, which, I lived, honey. Okay? Know the girl.
Twink Tony.
So that's me. Damon, what about you?
It's funny. So like the first time I went to the gay club was actually in New York with Jordan, the night that we came out to each other.
That was fun.
Honey.
All right, let's celebrate.
Right. And
I know just the place.
And he knew just the place. We ended up at the Cock on the Lower East Side.
All right, I can't mistake that for anything else.
Hello.
Ooh.
With some of his coworkers, which like all this sounds like a recipe for like fun, wild night. Nope, had to read somebody.
Yeah,
So
it was a little bit of a racism.
got a little fussy with the white gays.
Wow.
One of Jordan's coworkers invited him out, and a friend of his made some assumptions. Was like, oh, do you like know them from Grindr? Which fine,
no,
but like,
bitch, we work together. We're
Hello.
colleagues. I also make more than him.
Child.
But
Jordan
let's
loves to
move
say
on.
who he makes more money than.
she doesn't owe you girls anything.
I just wanted him to know that he made all the wrong assumptions.
He made all the wrong assumptions, and then he assumed I was the wrong bitch.
Oh my God.
Well, Damon started reading him, and I was just like, okay, well.
This night was fun. Shouts out to everybody.
Shout out to everybody. I had fun, but
And I'm out this
he needed
bitch.
to know he won't try that again. I bet he's reformed now.
Ever.
But it was an interesting dynamic between us and them, and I think that it's one of the things that has made me really appreciate like Black queer spaces.
Yeah.
Because like even within the queer community, like you don't always feel welcome going to these places downtown or in Hell's Kitchen or wherever.
Right.
So like what kind of anxieties kind of in going into queer social spaces do you kind of feel? Like Tony, do you have any? Like when you go to places, do you feel like out of place sometimes?
Well, so I think that folks might think that I'm lying when I say this. But once I started being out and about on the scene, I started getting a different level of like attention. So I started getting really anxious about going out and having that feeling of kind of like being thrown to the wolves. But also, I think that sometimes it's overwhelming, and the politics of the gay scene has a way of taking the fun out of it. So God forbid, someone thought you paid them dust when they tried to say hi. Now all of a sudden I'm the doggone villain. But no, it's like, no, hun, I wasn't checking for you, and I probably didn't see you. But no, I probably didn't see you. And I'm not a mean girl unless provoked. Like, that's just not my spirit. But also I think that was once upon a time when I felt liberated, and then I started to feel a little objectified. And I didn't know where to put that for a while. But then as I started to wisen up a little bit more and get more hip to the game, I realized the type of gay that I did and did not want to be on the scene. So I wasn't about to be one of those girls that you could walk into a room and a circle of friends would say, I had him. No, ma'am. Mm-mm. I had an image to maintain and a reputation to build and uphold. So that wasn't going to be my stilo. So, but don't get me wrong. I was still having fun, and there are ways and then there are ways. But the last thing I'll say though is I'll mention that a big part of going out and being on the scene is the fashions or non-fashions, no shade. But I think
a fashion show with no fashions.
Right, a fashion show with no fashions. How dreadful. But I think that my desire to like start dressing up and present myself in a certain way came from the need to want to present myself and look fierce. But I know some girls that don't like to go outside without getting a haircut, which is kind of
stupid,
crazy. So I've learned to pay it dust now and just be me a little bit more. So those anxieties are kind of like shifted away. What about you, Jordan?
I guess my biggest anxiety is like coming off like I don't want to be there in the first place. I think that. So here's the thing. I don't talk to strangers. Right? I just don't. Like, I'm not the type of person that if I'm waiting in line with you, I just like strike up a conversation. I'm not the type of person that will just like talk to somebody for just unprompted. So for me, I feel like when I go to these parties, like I'm not necessarily just like making friends or like talking to people or being super engaging with people outside of the people that I came with or people that I know. And then on top of that, sometimes I always don't feel comfortable dancing either because I feel like the environment feels like everyone's just checking everyone out. So it doesn't feel like you said, when you were talking about town where people were just like dancing around and just like sweating and like, that's not always the case. So when I'm in that environment where I don't necessarily want to speak to strangers, and I don't necessarily feel comfortable dancing, I feel like I'm just like having my drink and like only talking to my friends. And that can be read as like shady and standoffish, which is something that I feel like I get all the time. So then that makes me anxious about like how it's coming off and if I'm like feeding back into that narrative of like being standoffish when really I don't mind talking to anyone.
'Cause how many times do people say that to you? Like, you're so shady. And it's like, girl, no, I'm here. I'm existing.
I'm here. I really wanted to hear, body on the big speakers because the headphones weren't doing it anymore. And I wanted to hang out with my friends and like, get a little tipsy.
Right.
But I don't always feel like super social in terms of like making new friends when I go out. And I feel like that makes me a little bit anxious that I may be coming off like unwelcoming.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Damon?
I get anxious about ending up somewhere that only serves well liquor and barefoot wine.
Oh, I mean, nowadays.
I don't like going somewhere and having inexpensive things to drink. But no, but in real life, I don't know. Like if I feel like I'm going out, I'm just committing to the thing. Like, I don't necessarily overthink it. And if I'm, again, like we joke about me leaving. Like if I go somewhere and I'm like, this shit ain't right, your energy's not right, the people here aren't right, I will immediately leave. I've been many a place, been there for 30 seconds ago. That was fun, thank you, I'm going home. So like I don't care enough or invest enough into it to like feel that uncomfortable going into it or feel like when I'm there that like I have to overthink how people are going to perceive me because people all like, if people think Jordan's crazy, like, when you think of people's first impression of me is always just like, Damon hates me. I'm just like, Damon, I don't know your name.
Right. That part.
So like,
that part.
And I've just accepted that. And it's fine.
It's fine. Life will go on.
Right. So we talk a lot about partying. So if you guys were to create social spaces that weren't around partying, what would that be? Like, what's an ideal thing for you guys? Jordan, let's start with you.
Okay, I'm gonna just throw out just like some features. Laid back.
Yeah.
Upscale. It never gets crowded. Great furniture. Great lighting. Smells good. Good music. Not too loud. Conducive to having conversation. And yeah, great lighting. I don't know.
Great lighting.
She's great. Just I want to be able to take pictures of myself and look good.
No, I just want to feel like like it's a glow, like everyone's glowing.
Where we go, Jordan takes pictures of herself.
I love
So what?
a glow.
We live in Instagram.
Sure do.
I don't. Tony.
Well, honestly, I don't really know that there are a ton of options for the girls who want to be social but not necessarily on the scene. And it's kind of sad to me. I mean, to all of us. I think we often talk about the desire of wanting something different, and it's just not available in New York City, or so it seems. But it's like, where do we go when we want to have that moment? And I think New York, your experience does change depending on the people you know and the access you have. Because there are intimate moments, there are kickbacks that are happening, there's all that stuff going on, but it's like you got to know the right people in order to even be aware of those situations.
Right.
So, or curate your own moments if you can. And I think that's what we've learned.
Love a house moment.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I think that this is I I think that Damon should answer the question
Because I'm definitely interested to hear
because
what this...
I'm curious about what he has to say about this. Go ahead.
So my answer is actually kind of interesting. And it's not a personal thing, but it's something that came from an experience I had. So I'm, again, in the New York City Gay Men's Chorus. Every year we have a retreat that we go on, which is like a weekend with 300 gays stuck in a hotel, which tells you a lot about what that weekend looks like.
Oh, sex?
Who?
I was thinking singing.
I was thinking singing too.
Stuck in a hotel. I was thinking 300 gays stuck in a hotel.
We just
sounds
sing.
like a big orgy.
We just sing everywhere.
I'm sure.
We just sing.
A lot of whistling.
You know what?
But no,
Cut his mic off.
Right. But actually, on a serious note, like one of the things that they program are like sober activities in like a 12-step meeting.
Okay.
There are a lot of people, specifically in the gay community, who are now sober or trying to live a sober life because they've gotten caught up in like party drugs or too much drinking or anything crazy when they were younger.
Yeah.
And I think that until I went to that, I was just like, oh, like that is something that's important for a lot of people within our community. So I think that like if there were more like true sober spaces of things and not just like we can all come together and you just not drink. Like that's a different thing. Like there are a lot of people who've gotten caught up in too much of a good time within our community. And I think that until I was there, I was like, oh, I didn't even think about creating spaces like that are still social, that people can be involved with, that are really important.
Right.
That is interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, that y'all didn't think I was gonna say that.
I didn't.
And any place that plays Erykah Badu, Ari Lennox, and it gets no more lit than Cage Renata. That's the answer they thought I was giving.
There we go. Now that's what I was waiting on.
Hello.
But I think this is a good place, though, to introduce today's guest. And I have a feeling that a lot of our listeners are going to know exactly who he is. Leon Curry is from the Panhandle State, Florida. That's no shade. And he's a graduate of FAMU. And we stand an HBCU experience, so we're very happy about that. But he's currently a Harlem-based event producer with a passion for Black queer spaces and the folks who fill them. In 2016, he launched the infamous Trappy Hour as a fun project that eventually grew into a ratchet place to be your blackest, queerest self. And we love that. Even the corporate girls can have a good time. But the party also has a big online presence, and it keeps the girls entertained and on their toes with thought-provoking questions and a lot of great information. So today, we welcome Leon Curry to our Surface Level family.
Woo.
Welcome.
Yes.
We're so happy to have you here.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
All right, Leon. So before we get into the interview segment, I like to play a game of this or that with our guests, just so that the listeners can get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
Okay, you down?
I'm ready.
Let's do
All
it.
right, let's go. Pre-game or after party?
Pre-game.
Okay. Big party or small party?
I'd rather a small party.
Okay. All right, so what is your love language? And for the listeners who do not know what they are, the options are words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving gifts, quality time, and physical touch.
I thought it was receiving gifts, but it's words of affirmation. But the way I show love is giving gifts.
Got it. Okay. That's important to know. The way you receive love and the way that you give love. All right, so what's worse? Looking jealous or crazy?
I don't know. I looked a little bit of both at one time in my life.
Yes.
I would rather look crazy because they'll never forget if you look crazy. If you're jealous, they can bend that any way they want to. But crazy, they just don't fuck with you.
Okay. Never use your phone again or never use your computer again?
I guess computer.
Okay. Okay.
Like one of the same
agree.
now. One does a little
she
more.
could go.
I
mean-
need my computer.
My phone is basically a computer.
Yeah, I just hate the screen is so little wet.
Sleep nude or sleep clothed?
I guess I sleep naked now, but that's because I get home drunk and just take everything off. And
Hello, comfort. Classy, bougie, or ratchet?
pertaining to anything.
Anything?
I like ratchet.
Okay. Tattoos or piercings?
I don't have any, but I guess tattoos.
Okay.
Oh.
And lastly, would you rather be the richest person in the world or the smartest person in the world?
The smartest.
Yes.
That was
okay.
a quick response. On
Okay.
that.
I feel like you
No,
can learn that if
no.
you're very
I'm
smart.
not a
you
dumb
can make
bitch.
money.
Hello?
Right.
So
A smart
Right.
man can make money. A rich man can spend all his money
Hello.
and be out of money.
Hello.
Real quick.
But no, we're very excited to have you today, Leon. And earlier, Damon, Jordan, and I kind of talked about our experience, our first experience in like the club and stepping out on the scene. And we're curious about like what were some of your first memories of going out and being in a queer environment?
Well, for me, finding queer spaces was, I don't want to say hard, but it was, black queer spaces was different. I'm from Key West, so I knew about gayness. I knew about gay people, but for a lot of my childhood, I only thought white people could be gay.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, because I only saw white gay people. Like, it wasn't anything hidden. Key West is like,
like
it's
a
all about,
neighborhood.
it's a bar scene. It's all about being gay. It's all about being different. But there's a small pocket of black people that still get, well, like the neighborhood, there's a black neighborhood there. It's called Bahama Village. We all live there. And we still get information about different things in a different way. So queerness, it was just white to me. I didn't think black people could be gay for a very long time. And then I went to FAMU.
Yes.
And my world
But
opened up.
like that was a time where no one wanted to be
Call
out.
it your world.
Like you just had to really find it. There was only one out person on campus.
Really?
What?
And it's changed since I've left, but I had found queer culture through the modeling troops.
Yes.
So they would all have their little underground, and I still was like, I still didn't know what up from down was. And I would just be places like, okay, I like this. And they're like, you can't tell nobody about it. Or
Come on down,
like,
bro.
there's people who I live in New York with now. We were all there at the same time. And now we're like, you told me that wasn't your real name back at college, but I know now. We all out together.
That's hilarious.
So it was just like
You telling
finding
girls
that.
a whole different name.
It was like a culture. This was when Yahoo was how you hooked up.
Oh, was Yahoo Messenger?
Yes.
Come on.
That was
Yahoo
a-
chat rooms.
So it was a
You
whole
didn't do
different.
Yahoo chat rooms?
I wouldn't know.
I didn't do the whole chat rooms.
I might be a little older. I'm like,
Tony don't sell her cat on the internet.
but I just didn't know. Like, I didn't know how to meet gay people or gay black people. And like, FAMU's like,
full of gay
full
black
of
people.
them.
Right.
And my first club experience was in Atlanta. So that was an extra, like, I felt my ears were getting hot. My heart was pounding. I'd never been into like a gay club, and I didn't know what to expect.
Oh, wow.
I was hanging out with the kitchen staff though in the back. I was just so nervous. I was on the wall.
Don't make me go back out.
It sounds like Atlanta. Not the kitchen staff. They were bringing out chicken wings and stuff. I
Not
remember.
even. They were out enjoying the little Mexican man enjoying the scene, and I was like, okay, I'm hanging with y'all.
Right. I'm sitting right here. But so I mean, that's kind of funny because obviously now you work in nightlife, so it's like, what inspired this moment for you? What inspired you to get involved in nightlife and do what you do present day?
Well, I want to say it just happened. I was turning 30, and I was laid off from a job I worked at for years, and I was planning like, I want to go to this big 30th birthday party, and I went and got laid off, and I was like, okay, plans change, and I wandered into a bar, Harlem Nights.
Yes.
And I was like, I guess this will do. It's free. It's like, just invite people here.
Right.
And one of my friends was graduating. He's getting ready to go into another program. And he's like, well, I'm going to do a going away party. You can do a birthday party. And we did it. And I think it was one of their best nights. So they asked me to come back and do it. So it wasn't anything I planned. It just happened.
Oh, wow. I was not expecting that answer.
I wasn't
You
either.
really did just like.
Yeah, it was
Fell
just like,
into
I
it.
think it was just like God's grace, because he's like, you gonna be broke, you don't know how to handle money anyway. So here is something. And I've always wanted to work for myself. Like, I feel like when I went to school, I majored in poli-sci, minor in law. So I was just supposed to go to law school. And I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I've been like a great student all my life and just been very dedicated to that. I didn't really like have any wild times to tell you about before I was 22.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to take some time and go to New York and see what happens.
I love that. Well,
Yes.
you had a calling
I don't know.
on your
I don't
life.
know. I'm
A
still trying to
a
figure it
calling
out.
on your life.
To pour
figure it
alcohol
out.
down the girls' throats. at
Yeah, that's
Trappy
my
Hour.
bet. Like, I was like, okay, this is great. And get paid for it?
Right. And get paid. That's the part. But so obviously we follow Trappy Hour and Reloaded because we've learned that there have been iterations of the page. And it's always everyone is sharing the stories because everyone is cracking up, and in your stories sometimes you talk about the queer spaces that you want to create and the vision that you have to expand. And so we want to know what your plans are or what you're thinking about in terms of expanding outside of nightclubs and bars in terms of social gatherings.
I would like to do a retreat. The older I get, the more like you guys are talking about different party experiences you want.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way. Like I want beautiful lights, beautiful decor, great drinks, because, that's a space you can just go feel comfortable and a space you feel like you should be in. Like that doesn't feel like a little tiki bar or something. Even though like the
tiki
place
bar,
I
Jesus.
do my parties at gives that. But, I want that experience too. We live in New York. We work really hard, have that great experience. But I think the important thing for us to have experiences like that, because when you throw parties, it's all about getting people drunk. That's how you make your money.
Yeah.
So that's like going to facilitate a ratchet, wild environment. That's what you want. But if you own a space, and I think that's where it needs to go next, and I think a lot of promoters have seen that with like everything just ended March 15th. Every party ended.
Yeah.
And now people who are coming back, they're like renting out spaces instead of going to clubs. So I think like the next growth level thing, the smartest thing to do is just like own a space or do a retreat, which is something I really want to do.
Well, you can do it all. You have time.
Well, see, it takes some money to do all that. So, and like to figure it out and like have people who've done it before to guide you
Yeah.
on how to organize it.
Yeah, don't be like the Fire Festival.
Yeah, that's a nightmare. I wouldn't.
Maybe.
You would never live that down with the gays.
So much disappointment. But no, I think that's really cool though, because like I love Trappy Hour. Like I lived around the corner. I would just like
We did.
pregame and pump over there, huh? Oh, right.
We lived together there.
Right. Me and Damon were roommates when Harlem Nights had just opened.
It was
right?
it opened like when we lived together.
Right. So like love that experience, but like like you said, like you want to be able to like do that on Thursday, but then
Yeah.
on Saturday you might want to do something like a little bit different. Monday you may want to have like a different experience. So I think that's really cool. I've been seeing the stories too of you like doing your,
I'd be drunk.
polls.
I don't know.
I'd be drunk.
I'm like, ask them what they want. I'm
Right.
like, do
No, I
that.
do. But the thing is, like, I see what people say,
Yeah.
but then how to facilitate that into making money from it and what they really want.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be in the gutter.
Yeah, no,
Low
like
key.
when you get drunk, we know what we come out for. Like all that cute stuff is great, but then you like, I'm tipsy now. So
My brain is hurt.
yeah, or not even that, but it's like people want to be around who they want to be around. I learned that. Like people say that I want this space that's just open to everybody and this and that, but then at the end of the day, when you're drunk and you want to be around who you want to be around. And for gay boys, we want to be around other gay boys.
Right. But no, so Leon, you kind of touched on this a little bit. It's almost like you were reading my mind about this next question, because obviously with everything going on, the hospitality industry has taken a huge hit during this pandemic. But what we've noticed is that your social presence with Trappy Hour Reloaded hasn't skipped a beat. Okay. So we want to know a little bit more about that. How do you think your social presence has helped with the overall brand?
I'm not sure yet. Because sometimes I wake up and I'm like looking at these things I posted, like, let me just delete all this. Because I never think people look at it. I never like really go back to check who see, and they come up to me like, oh, I share this, blah, blah, blah. And it'll be like the worst story ever that someone could say that you told when you were sober. And I'm like, yeah, that's me. I think the way it's changed it is that, like, I'm surprised my party has lasted as long as it has lasted because, they're supposed to die out. You just expect that. But I think it's let people want to be a part of it. Like people come out of town to go. Faces change every week. So that's and people like just tell you all your business. They tell you everything. And I'm like, I keep those. I'm grateful you feel like you should share this with me. So come to the space, come drink. We can talk about it some more.
Right. I remember when Issa Rae popped up. It was a night I was almost going to Trappy Hour that night, and we decided not to go.
Night. I
Issa
was
Rae
just
popped
like,
up. And a few others, though. But to just pivot a little bit, kind of want to talk about confidence and the scene and the social scene and being a butch queen on the scene. What we see.
The title came from the Trappy Hour stories. to
I was probably drunk.
to be clear,
I don't mind it, but I was like, damn, well, okay.
Look, this is about you, baby.
I don't mind it at all. I like it. I feel like it's I don't know how to put it into words yet, but when I like say butch queen, we know those meanings of words, they change, like trade and all that stuff. We don't really have great examples of it now, but I think just young people, young Black queer people who have like some autonomy in their social life, and they got some freedom to be Black and gay and have fun. Like, go buy them shoes, go on that vacation.
Yep.
That's the butch queen life for us now.
Yep. But to talk about confidence a little bit, like when we look at you, Damon, Jordan, and I, we see someone who's confident. Like, you couldn't tell us anything different. But we know that the industry that you work in can really beat up on a person. So we want to know how are you able to deal with like the tough crowds and the feedback? Do you manage to the noise or through the noise?
I always listen to what people have to say because so things won't get stale. But I also get drunk. I just try to be nice to everyone because it is hospitality still, and someone is going to have a different experience than you thought they were having.
Absolutely.
And you just can't listen. You can make it better to where you think, oh, that could be better, or I know that this is going to happen. After you do it for so long, you just like, I know what I'm trying to do right here. But you do have to, I don't want to even say you have to build a tough skin. You just have to know you're going to be out there. Like, you were talking about like anxiety in social spaces, like parties. You just have to you'll have a lot of that. And especially if it changes throughout the night. If it's empty, you're looking at the bar like they're gonna charge me for this space. If it's too packed, you're like, I have to manage everyone now. And then you always like, I have to act a certain way. So this person is really gonna have like, they're gonna think you're an asshole if you don't smile or say, hey, blah, blah, blah.
Goodness, right.
And then everyone is thinking the same thing. Like you were saying, everyone is thinking like, oh, I don't want people to think I'm coming off this way. Or like what you were talking about earlier. Like, I don't want people to think I'm an asshole or I'm standoffish, but everyone is thinking like people tell me that all the time.
Really?
And I was like, I wonder if you guys knew that you all thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
I feel like every time that I've ever seen you at a party, you've always been like a big smile, a big hug.
I fucked up. I don't come out of there sober because I'm like, I'm very shy. So I think, I'm like, and quiet. And if I didn't have to go out, I probably wouldn't go out that much. Or I would just like be in spaces with my friends. But that liquor hits and you just get to be nice to everybody. And the only bad thing is you have to pretend like you remember everything.
Oh my God.
So you just...
I love the conversation we had last night.
No, someone's like, we had such a deep cut, and I held on to what you said to me. And I was like,
what did I
you just
say?
keep doing that. I was like, I don't remember. But I don't think it was a lie. They say drunk men don't tell lies. So.
Oh my goodness. But so we just talked a little bit about the persona of the Trappy Hour Reloaded Instagram stories, and there's kind of a personality behind the madness. And we're curious to know about, if Trappy Hour were a queer person, what would their characteristics be? How would you describe Trappy Hour, the queer individual?
What I would want them to be is like, I would just want them to be like a Black boy who gets to be extra. We all don't like it all the time. We all but I want them to be loud. Like, what I want this person to be loud, extra, and just Black happy. And to be able to move and do those things, because I feel like maybe this is a person who hasn't been able to do that in his life before. And now he's coming out and he wants to just enjoy some ratchetness. So I just want him to be, I hope he's a person people like, but he'll be wild for a little bit. I think he deserves that.
Oh, we all deserve to be a little bit wild.
I can get wild.
I can get wild.
I love that response. Oh my goodness. But so about these upper echelon girls.
Oh yeah. No, y'all know upper echelon girls too.
About the upper echelon girls.
Yeah.
What makes one an upper echelon girl versus your everyday basic bitch?
That's it. That's just it. That's just it. I like to go places and pretend like I have never seen anything before, because I just think a lot of things are wonderful. But that's when I go to places and like, oh my God, you got a little like cute backsplash or a nice backsplash. Just things like that. It's nothing like really crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I feel like I've had a life and I've done so many different kinds of things, and just being from a place like Key West anyway, where it's small, but there's like a lot of people, there's like a lot of rich people there. Mm-hmm. Not me. or anybody I knew.
Not me.
But like you live next, like the projects look like everything else. So you're going to these different spaces and seeing these things, and you have that like, oh my God, y'all got a wine cellar? And I'm like, I didn't even know you could build underground in the Keys, but whatever.
What's been
And that's like the things like, oh my God, you have a bidet? Like,
What's been your favorite New York upper echelon experience?
trying to think. That's not gonna.
He's had many.
No. Just like you get to know people, like a lot of in the spaces you get to know a lot of different people, and this one artist had a cute little house party, and that was fun.
And we'll leave it there.
That must be an NDA.
Right.
It was fun.
I had fun.
It was fun. It was beautiful. It was great. And I'll tell you
fun.
later.
Oh my goodness. Well, Leon, we really want to thank you for coming in and sitting with us. It's so fun to have a conversation with the man behind the machine that is Trappy Hour Reloaded.
it.
We love you. We love what you're doing, and we wish you nothing but the best and everything that you want. You'll make it happen. So right now, we want to give you an opportunity to just let our listeners know, let the people know, like what's coming up, what can they expect, or where should they be next. Just go ahead and give it to the people.
Well, I'm not too sure. We have to get out of this pandemic.
Right.
And I don't even know where people's heads are going to be at when everything is open. But you can follow me on Instagram at Trappy Hour Harlem Reloaded, and we'll figure it out from there. We hope we're still here after a while.
It is a treat. You need to follow it if you're not following it. It is hilarious.
Just for the stories, even if you can't physically go to Trappy Hour, she's fun.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, that's all the time we have this week. If you want to learn more about this topic, you can visit us at surfacelevelpodcast.com, and let's keep the conversation going. Let us know your thoughts and questions. And if you enjoyed this discussion, please rate, review, and subscribe. You can stay updated by following us on Instagram and YouTube at Surface Level Podcast. And remember, stay curious.